Hey everyone, I'm Matt with Ozark Overland Adventures, and I say it all the time. We don't take it for granted that we get to do what we do as often as we love to do it. We just got lucky and are in a very unique spot that we get to travel a lot. We get to partner with a bunch of cool companies. We do get to use some really nice gear when we're out on our big overlanding trips, and that's something that we don't take for granted. But with this being the first Tuesday video for 2025, I was thinking this morning, if I were starting brand new in 2025, getting into this whole overlanding thing. Now, I'm not talking, weekend camping. I'm not talking, just off-roading. I'm talking overlanding in the, multi-day, 5 days, 2-3. We did a 5-week trip last year. We've done 6-week trips before. That type of overlanding trip to remote destinations, just out exploring. If I were going to start doing that brand new in 2025, take away all my stuff, but let me keep my knowledge that I've gained over the years, what would I start fresh with in 2025? And so that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Now, the key to a successful overlanding trip is finding the balance between comfort, convenience, and space. Those are the three things that you're trying to juggle and find the right balance in. Like I said, I'm not talking about just going out for a weekend off-roading and camping, because you can be uncomfortable for a weekend. You can be cold for a weekend. You can be hot for a weekend. You can sleep on a deflated air mattress for a weekend. You can endure some discomfort for a weekend, but on the longer trips, that's going to get old real fast. So that's what you got to figure out, is the balance between comfort, convenience, and space. And space leads us to the vehicle. Now, I'm not going to get into, you got to have a Jeep, you got to have a 4Runner, you got to have a truck or an SUV. For the most part, I'm going to try to stay away from specific brands, although I will recommend some specific brands. But for the most part, I'm just going to talk in generalities because everyone's budget's going to be different. But for a vehicle, obviously my preference is a Jeep. But the vehicle doesn't matter, except I do think in the spirit of overland travel, you do need 4-wheel drive. So if you currently have some form of 4-wheel drive vehicle, my recommendation is use that. Take that out, see what you like, see the types of trails that you like to run, and then modify, change, grow from there. If you just love getting out to the beautiful scenic destinations and exploring those areas, then you don't need a heavily built Jeep. Comfort on the road, on the trail may be more important to you than off-road capability and being able to, hit the rock crawling trails while you're out and about, that sort of thing. My personal style is more hybrid. I like both. And so I've built my Jeep around both styles of wheeling. But that may not be you. So vehicle-wise, 4-wheel drive. And I think if you're going to modify your vehicle, never, ever, ever cheap out on your suspension. Because that is the most important thing that determines ride quality and handling. And that doesn't matter if you're driving a solid front axle Jeep or an IFS Bronco or a Toyota or whatever. No matter the vehicle, don't cheap out on the suspension. You will regret that in the long run. Other vehicle modifications, this kind of depends on your style and what you like to do. You'll grow into that. But getting started, I would pick a 4-wheel drive vehicle that I already own and take it out to see what I enjoy. And if you are going to buy a 4-wheel drive vehicle, I highly recommend buy something that's stock. Do not buy something that is already modified, already lifted, already got the stuff on it. Buy a stock vehicle. Unless maybe you know the owner of that vehicle and you know they put the quality suspension on it, way more times than not, you're not going to have a clue what type of suspension they put on it. You're not going to have a clue what type of abuse that vehicle went through, how well they took care of it off-road. We can talk reliability arguments all day long, but as soon as you take them off-road, the reliability arguments go out the window. And then it becomes a matter of how well do you maintain your vehicle? How well do you check all the joints and all the bushings and all those things to keep it maintained for that off-road use? So if you're going to buy a vehicle for overlanding, buy a stock one. Used stock, totally fine. Brand new stock, whatever, your choice. But whatever it is, buy it stock so that you know what's going into that vehicle. You know what components are gonna, get you not only to the trail but home after the trip. So yeah, I'm really passionate about that one. Well, with your vehicle, you don't always know what you're going to get into. Matter of fact, most of the time, you're probably not going to know what you're going to get into. The weather can change. You may have to pivot and go to some place you didn't plan on, and you're in an environment that places that you're not familiar with. Recovery gear is an absolute must. At the bare minimum, you need to have a set of traction boards, like not the little dinky traction boards that I keep on the side of my Gladiator, but full-size traction boards. If you're not going to carry anything else, have traction boards to at least, help get you out of mud, get you out of sand, get you, back moving in snow. Traction boards come in real handy. Even better than traction boards is a winch, especially if you're, traveling in an area with trees. If you're traveling with other people that you could winch off of them. The winch is always my go-to. Now, again, it depends on the environment. I do love wheeling in the desert sometimes, and there's nothing to winch to out there. So, be prepared. Bare minimum traction boards. Best case scenario, winch. Even better case, both. But don't go out without some means of recovery. Well, we've got the vehicle covered. Let's talk about what really is the next biggest consideration, I think, and that's where you're going to sleep, which means rooftop tent, ground tent, or hammock, or even if you got maybe you chose an SUV, you can sleep in the back of your rig. For me, this is my personal preference. If I were starting out fresh in 2025, I am absolutely going rooftop tent. I started this whole overlanding thing in a hammock, still love a hammock. But when the weather's bad, or you just need to, maybe you're not staying in the best location, maybe you don't have trees, there's, my personal opinion, nothing beats a rooftop tent. Now, I'm not recommending that you go out and just buy a rooftop tent. If you have a ground tent, absolutely start with that. See how you like that. The advantages of a ground tent is they take up so little space. They don't weigh hardly anything. And some of them you can set up pretty quickly. But you do have to set it up if the ground's muddy, like it is in this location. Ground tent's not ideal. Uneven ground, you can level a vehicle to camp on uneven ground. You can't level a ground tent unless you brought yourself a big shovel and have dug it out. I actually had a friend do that once. We were camping on a gravel bar. But my personal choice, starting fresh in 2025, would be a rooftop tent. For me, and being solo or just me and my wife and dogs, I'm going wedge style rooftop tent because they are super fast to set up and take down, and very durable, also very thin. For me, speed and efficiency is key. There's tons of great tents on the market. On a budget, I would definitely get the Top Oak Galaxy. Any wedge tent that I purchased would have this kicker that folds out this way. that maximizes your space up there and just makes it feel so roomy compared to a traditional wedge that doesn't have that. So on a budget, the Top Oak Galaxy, love that tent. If I was on a budget, that's what I would buy. Mid-range tent, probably something like the iCamper BDV that I had, maybe the FSR Aspen Light XL. That's a very nice tent. The BDV doesn't have the kicker though, so that would be an issue, but it is a nice tent. Budget, no object, I'm going the Intrepid. I friggin' love this tent. It is the best tent that I've ever had, and I've had a lot. But the amount of space that you get in this tent for being out for an extended period of time, nothing comes close to this. So while we are on the subject of the tent, let's talk about the bedding. I honestly, just a cheap, this is a quilt and sheet set from Walmart. That is what lives in my tent. I go with the quilt route because it's fairly warm and it just takes up so much less space than a comforter. When it gets colder, I do add a down blanket to go in here, but just getting started, you're probably not camping in extreme temperatures. Just get a cheap blanket set from Walmart. As far as pillows go, but there's so many choices with pillows, but it seems that a good pillow will kind of make or break how good of a night's sleep you get. I love these inexpensive pillows from Climate. I actually use a Hest, but for the money, I would go Climate over the Hest all day long. Very similar pillow. This one has this protective layer for when you're stored. You flip it inside out, and it's got this really nice, almost like a t-shirt material that you're actually sleeping on. That's my pillow choice. Speaking of rooftop tents, the other thing that I'm going to do, the very first thing I'm going to do is rip out the mattress that it comes with and replace it with one of these inflatable memory foam mattresses. This particular one is from iCamper. I don't recommend this one just because it's so stupid expensive. The Lost Horizon brand on Amazon is every bit as comfortable as the higher end iCampers and Xpeds. So if I were starting fresh in 2025, it would be that Lost Horizon mattress. But I would definitely replace any mattress that comes in the tent, unless it's a company that gives you a inflatable memory foam. But I'm ripping out the mattress that comes in them and replacing it with this. So incredibly comfortable to sleep on. Up next, if I was starting fresh in 2025, I would absolutely buy a fridge. This has been probably the most impactful thing for my trips, is having a fridge. Again, if you're just going out for a weekend, ice chest full of ice, that's going to last you no problem. But you start going out for, a week, 2 weeks, dealing with that ice becomes a problem. Also, the space. It takes a big ice chest full of ice to carry a lot less food than you'll get in a fridge. So if I was on a budget, Set Power, fantastic brand, 3-year warranty. If I want a little higher quality fridge, better 5-year warranty, I'm going with Iceco. This APL 55 has become my all-time favorite fridge, and I absolutely love it. I would recommend something in the 35 to 55 liter range, depending on size of family, how long you're going to be out, how much you like cold beverages versus, room temp beverages, that sort of thing. I like the 55 liter. My wife carries a 35 liter in her Jeep. But absolutely positively would buy a fridge. Well, with the fridge, let's talk about cooking stuff. If you love to cook, like cooking is a hobby of yours, the Jetboil Genesis is hands down the best stove that you can buy for camping. It packs down small, 2 burners, very, very fine flame control. After all these years, I still think this is the best stove on the market. But if you don't love to cook, and that's not really your thing, you just want to be able to, cook steak, cook something, boil some water. This alternative here from Coffee Yard is a great stove, and it's a whole lot cheaper than the Jetboil. And you can see it looks very similar, but it is slightly smaller. But you don't get the flame control with this. It's not as powerful as the Jetboil, but it'll get the job done. And it's small and compact, which again, we're trying to balance that convenience versus space. You know, if I wanted to, I could bring a giant black stone, you know, griddle cooktop and all those, you know, fun things to cook with, but I gotta have a place to put it. So gotta maximize the space. So something small and, you know, foldable, packable, like these two options, that's what I would go with. You know, I mean, obviously you can get by with just a cheap stove from Walmart or Academy or something that folds flat. But for me and my storage stuff, I just think this design works really well. Now, as far as cookware goes, bring pots and pans from home. You don't have to get fancy with that. I keep a cast iron skillet in mine, and that's what I cook. I don't know, 85% of my meals are cooked in that cast iron skillet. But if I were starting fresh, this stuff from Sea to Summit, I think this kit is just absolutely wonderful. It's stainless steel, collapses, got the silicone base here, so packs down into each other. This is the bowl slash plate. I think these for space saving are, I just think they're so innovative. So this cookware, any folding cookware from Sea to Summit is probably what I'd start out with. This is another smaller pot with a lid, or with a little spout for, you know, pouring stuff. But this Sea to Summit cookware that collapses, takes up very little space. That's good stuff. All right, next, water storage. So you got to be able to bring water. Water is a necessity for life, and so you have to have a means of carrying water. I do love my little Rotopacks, but they're not cheap. They're convenient, but they're not cheap. So if I were just starting out in 2025, I'm just going to Walmart or Academy and getting one of these blue, 7 gallons, I think, Aquatainer things. They hold a crap ton of water. They don't take up a ton of space. They've got the spout. So if I'm starting fresh in 25, I'm just going this route. Now let's talk about a few odds and ends things here. As much as I love my drawers, if I were starting fresh in 2025, just getting started, I'm not spending the money on the drawers. But as your needs change and grow and you start figuring this out, drawer systems are incredibly handy for keeping that space organized. I love these, but starting out, this isn't where my money's going. My money's probably going to go into totes, and Kara doesn't have a drawer in her Gladiator. She's got some really nice totes from Ironman 4x4. They are the same quality and style as like the expensive Roam cases and Pelican cases and stuff, but much more affordable. So totes, the Ironman 4x4 are my favorite. Smaller things like the Frontrunner Wolf packs that I have in the back of the Gladiator. Any kind of tote. Probably would start out with like just a simple Plano tote from, Walmart or Academy, or something from, Home Depot or Lowe's. So something storage wise. But the drawers are really nice. I just wouldn't start off with that because they're not cheap. They're fantastic, just not cheap. Camp chairs. Again, the comfort, space, storage, trying to find the balance of that. I have not found a better chair that is that balance than the Click chair. These are $79 now on Amazon. There's some other different brands, but the Click, it is such a comfortable chair. It packs down super small, and for chair, I'm going with the Click. For $79 for a chair that packs down smaller than some water bottles, yeah, Not going to bring the big, the big giant camp chairs that take up half the bed of the truck to deal with that. I'm bringing this. Personal hygiene. If you want, I mean, there's several hot water shower systems that you can bring. Personally love the Kakadu Outback shower. That thing is awesome. I don't bring that on many trips because if I'm going through town, I have learned that there are places that I can stop and take showers in towns, rec centers, some campgrounds, KOAs, places like that have public showers. They'll usually let you pay $5, $10 to go take a shower in there, and you're gonna have to go into town to resupply anyway. I'm just gonna do that, so I'm not lugging around more stuff. In between times, Clean Freak body wipes. These, I mean, you can do dude wipes and all different kinds of wipes. I'm not necessarily saying get Clean Freaks, although this is our personal preference because they're scented and they're handy little pouches that I can keep a couple up in my rooftop tent, keep them spread around. But like this is lavender and peppermint and coconut, but personal preference is the Clean Freaks. But any type of shower wipe will keep you clean and not stinky until you get to your next resupply destination and get a proper shower. So definitely bringing these. Another thing that I've learned over the years that I'm going to make sure I have when I'm out and about, especially when I'm solo, is some means of communication when I'm off grid outside of cell range. So that I can contact someone in case of an emergency, just touch base with my wife or kids or aging parent, whatever the scenario is, have some means of communication. We use the Spot. This is the Spot X. It's got its own little keyboard. You don't have to tie it to your phone like some of the other stuff does, but any of these, the Spot, the Garmin InReach, the Zoleo, all get the job done. We just really fallen in love with the Spot for that purpose. And then of course, if you really need to be off grid and really need to have connectivity, Starlink Mini, which normally lives right up here on top of my Jeep. The Starlink Mini really is fantastic. It's just not quite as budget friendly, and this will get the job done. Okay, so you got your fridge, and if you're out for multiple days, you're gonna wanna recharge your phone, make sure other batteries, cameras, lights, whatever, if you have a CPAP machine, some way to power that. As much as I love the dual battery setup in all of our Jeeps, and having that much power and being able to, put outlets and stuff anywhere I need them, if I were just starting out, I'd go back to a power station. It's just super convenient. You don't have to deal with the wiring and all that sort of stuff. That's something you definitely grow into as your needs change and as you get more hooked and into this. Having the onboard auxiliary batteries are super awesome. But if I were starting fresh in 2025, brand new, I'm just going power station. It's portable. They've come down so much in price. I love this Blue Eddy AC180. I think it's the perfect size at just over 1,000 watt hours. Pair that with something like the Blue Eddy Charger 1 that will charge this power station from the alternator while you're driving and not have to deal with solar or anything like that. If you're going to be camped maybe in one spot for a couple days, I wouldn't trust my fridge on my starter battery. But this will run the fridge for a whole weekend. And, all you have to do is drive a few hours. And with this, it will fully recharge this from dead to full in just, 2-3 hours. So great combination here. Much more budget friendly than, having to do the whole aux battery system. But these things have just come down in price so much. I would go this. It's not something we talk about a lot, but if you're going to be out for, I mean, even just a weekend, you, you got to have a place to go to the bathroom. That's much easier for men than it is for women. But Karen and I, if we were starting over again, absolutely we would have an Instaprivy. This is it's a toilet that folds, and it uses their little bag system. It comes with these bags. And you can, of course, buy more. You can buy the bags that you can buy in the Walmart camping section if you run out of these and need some in a pinch. But these are awesome bags. And you put the bag here and folding toilet seat here. Go set this up with a beautiful view. Do your business. When you're done, you gather the bag, you tie it off, you put that bag in the secondary bag to keep the smell out. And then when you have to refuel, dump this in the trash can. And it all comes in this handy dandy little satchel here, little backpack. And they custom made me a purple one because it's my favorite color. Normally comes with a green one. But this is the privy part, but this is a little privacy shelter that you just pop out and you just put that on your head. It's got a little see-through thing here, and you do your business. We have legit had emergencies where we have had to pull over on the highway, cars passing. Just set this up beside the vehicle. Nobody has a clue because you got your privacy. And if you need to, you can take this and hang it up in a tree. You can use it as a privacy changing room. You can use it as a shower tent. Lots of ways to use this, but this is definitely our go-to for number 2 while camping, and for girls number 1. Where's that thing? Oh, there it is. So the Instaprivy, highly recommend it. Yeah. So yeah, that's the whole bag, all in one. No buckets. No. Just this. It's convenient, and you can just toss in the back when you're done. All right, last but definitely not least, when you're going out on multi-day trips, you gotta have a way to know where you are, where you're going, how to get there. So some form of navigation is critical. Now, if you are a diehard fan of paper maps and you can get a good paper map, those are becoming harder to find, especially for remote areas like National Forest and BLM land. But if you love paper maps, absolutely go for it. There are some pretty expensive navigation options like the Garmin Overland, the Garmin Tread, I think is that one of them. Just ready-made tablet stuff. I'm definitely not using any of that stuff. I am going to use the phone that I already have that has GPS built into it. And I'm going to be using, for me, I love Guide GPS. OnX Off-Road is another good, viable option. And honestly, if you're just starting out and getting into this, OnX is probably the better of the two. Now, once you get more experience and are going out for longer into more remote areas, that's where Guide GPS really shines. I think it does a much better job of longer term trips and planning and organizing and tools and resources in Guide GPS that OnX can't touch. I also think Gaia has the absolute best map layer for doing what we do. So for me, just use your phone. You don't have to go buy a tablet. Just use your phone. The screens are now huge, but just use your phone and OnX or Gaia GPS. The subscriptions are absolutely worth it and much better tool. The resources and the tools for offline navigation that we have now, being able to download the maps onto your phone and know where you are It's insane. The technology today for that is absolutely insane. So there you go. Got to have some form of navigation. This is what I use now. What I would highly recommend anybody just getting started. Just use your phone. All right, well, I know I didn't cover every single little detail. I mean, we could get into the nitty gritty, such as, you know, propane tanks and awnings. Pick good weekends. I mean, awnings are great, but I don't recommend rush out and, you know, start, you know, with an awning. It's extra weight. It's stuff that gets hung up on branches and stuff on tight trails. So, I mean, there's so much stuff we could get into. There's so many choices. You know, I could talk about utensils. I could talk about lights. I could talk about so much. But that's the basics. And if I were just getting started in 2025, those are the choices that I would make. If I didn't have everything that I have, but I did have the knowledge that I have, that's what I would choose. And depending on varying budgets, that's what I'd go with. So I hope you found this helpful. If you've got any questions about any other stuff, post that in the comments and I'll be happy to answer any questions. You know, all this is my opinion based on how many years I've been doing this. So there's people out there that would disagree with me on some of the stuff, and that's fine. So if you disagree with me on some stuff, put that in the comments too. If you're a diehard ground tent and want to make that argument, absolutely be glad to listen to that. But go to the comments and let me know. If you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful, be sure and give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not. 2025 is going to be a big year for us. So excited to get it started the way we are. If you like what we're doing and you want to consider supporting the channel in 2025 and beyond, when we start traveling full time in the fall of this year, check out the Patreon link in the description. You'll get access to all of our GPS data, special events, special content that we put out for our patrons. And for all our merchandise, go to shopoverlandapparel.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Happy New Year. Bye.